three old hags, one eye shared between the three of them, and one guy who was insane enough to snatch that eye right out of midair. Sounds like madness, right? But this is a real myth over 2,000 years old. It tells the only known story in history where a hero didn't win with a sword or sheer strength, but by literally stealing the organ of sight from three immortal sisters. His name was Perseus. A king had sent him on a mission that was nothing short of a death sentence. No one was supposed to come back alive. But Perseus didn't just return, he assembled a complete set of divine gear, items modern superheroes would sell their souls for. Flying sandals, a helmet of invisibility, and a weapon capable of killing a monster through its own reflection. And this entire arsenal was handed to him by the very creatures he first robbed and then forced to speak. This is the story of how cunning defeated a monster that brute force could never touch. Stick around until the end. There's a moment that will send shivers down your spine. The king of a small island wanted to marry Perseus's mother. Perseus was against it. So, the king devised a way to get rid of him forever, not by killing him directly, but by sending him on a quest from which no one had ever returned. The order was simple, yet terrifying. Bring me the head of Medusa, the Gorgon. You have to understand what that meant. Medusa couldn't just be fought and killed. A single glance into her eyes would instantly turn any living being into solid stone. Not wounded, not paralyzed for a moment, turned into a statue forever. According to legend, her lair was surrounded by hundreds of these frozen figures. Warriors who had arrived before him and remained there eternally, staring into the void with stone eyes. Before Perseus could reach Medusa, he had to figure out where she was hiding. Only three beings in the entire world knew her location. The Grey, the sisters of Medusa herself. They were ancient, even by the standards of the gods. Gray-haired from birth, the three of them shared only two organs, one eye and one tooth. They passed them back and forth in turn to see and to eat, one at a time, constantly bickering over whose turn it was. Perseus hid nearby and watched. Then, at the exact split second, one hag pulled out the eye to hand it to her sister. In that brief moment when the eye was floating in the air, belonging to no one, Perseus snatched it. Three immortal hags, the terror of the ancient world, were instantly plunged into total blindness. They froze in panic, fumbling blindly through the empty air. Perseus offered them a deal. I will give you back your eye if you tell me where to find the nymphs who guard the magical gear and how to reach Medusa's lair. Blinded and helpless, the hags had no choice. They revealed everything. Armed with the information, Perseus set off to find the nymphs, and this is where the story turns into the ancient world's ultimate pre-boss gear-up sequence. The nymphs presented him with three items. First, the winged sandals of Hermes. Put them on, and you fly freely, with no wings on your back, simply by pushing off the ground. Second, the helm of Hades, god of the underworld. Put it on, and you become completely invisible. No one will ever know you are there. Third, a magic sack specifically crafted to safely hold Medusa's head without requiring anyone to look at it. And from Hermes himself, Perseus received one final item, a mirror-polished shield. That shield was the true stroke of genius. Medusa couldn't be fought head-on because a direct glance would kill a hero before he could even swing his blade, but the shield acted as a mirror. Perseus could look at her reflection instead of her face, seeing his enemy while remaining completely safe. Perseus flew to the Gorgon's lair. He landed among frozen statues, warriors, and beasts who had once made the exact mistake he had almost made himself. They looked. Medusa was asleep. Perseus slipped on the helm and vanished. Now, no living creature could sense him, even if they woke up. He raised his shield, angling it to catch Medusa's reflection. Without casting a single direct glance at her, he began to creep closer. Every step was taken by a man forcing himself to look only into a mirror, knowing that a single slip-up would turn him into another stone statue in her collection. Guided entirely by the reflection in his polished shield, Perseus struck one single, precise blow. Medusa's head was severed, yet even in death it retained its terrifying power to turn anything it looked upon into stone. Perseus carefully slipped it into the magic sack without touching or looking at it. At that moment, a creature that had been trapped inside her body burst free into the world, Pegasus, the winged horse, but Perseus had no time to marvel at the sight. Disturbed by the noise, Medusa's immortal sisters descended in a blind rage. This was where his gear saved his life once more. The helm of invisibility concealed him from their sight. The winged sandals swept him into the sky faster than they could react. Perseus flew away, invisible, carrying the monster's head in his sack, leaving the immortal sisters screeching and circling in the air, completely unaware of who had robbed them. Upon returning home, Perseus used Medusa's head one last time against the very king who had sent him on a suicide mission, hoping never to see him again. A single look at the severed head, and the king was turned into a stone statue, right on his throne. What makes this story so captivating thousands of years later? Perseus wasn't the strongest warrior of his time. He couldn't beat Medusa in a fair fight. No one could. His victory began not with a sword, but with keen observation. He caught the exact moment when three all-powerful hags were vulnerable, and he seized it. Sometimes, the most powerful weapon isn't strength, it's perfect timing. If you enjoyed this story, drop a like and subscribe. There are plenty more myths ahead where brain triumphs over brawn.